This is my Kindle Fire. I'm continuing the process of reading my book, Molasses Moon. This shows the home carousel with the book cover and other books. Carousel usually shows what you've been working with the most recently. So I'll click on the Molasses Moon, and there that comes to the page where we left off. And this is, I don't remember what reading number, maybe 37. And today is February 2nd, 2012, Thursday. Well, let's see, where were we yesterday? I think I'll turn this, instead of the upright way, I'm going to turn it on its side. Again, as you've seen before if you've been watching the videos. I have fun playing with this, as you probably remember too. The mirror glare, you just adjust it to where you can see to read it, just like with cell phones or other tablets like iPads. So I will adjust this for on the table use. And let's see where I was last time. Various types of stories, some that feed horror, and this one story I was going to tell you that's true but hearsay. So with that disclaimer, I'll pass on this handed down group of facts, and that's where I left off last time. The clues of the desecration conspiracy are now heavily leading into a political arena. Tom's first response to the event was that certain government factions are attempting to strangle anything trying to earn a living. The factions are making outlaws of businessmen, targeting those using petroleum-based products, gasoline and diesel fuel, to transport their goods and services. My first, second, and third thoughts were that the Bland Brigade conspiracy is much worse than I thought. It's not only trying to dampen the 4 F's and an S, it's blatantly working to break the backbone of the human species. And its members are human. I have to admit, this scares me. The heresy, goes. 3 weeks ago, 13 Colorado Department of Revenue vans entered the city of Pueblo. Their target was any pickup or truck appearing to be engaging in commerce. They harassed such vehicles for any legal detail they could ferret, most based on newly enacted, now to be enforced, environmental protection and revenue-generating legislation. The worst of the situation is that these new laws are so restrictive and extensive, they threaten to choke and or starve American business and industry. With too many laws, taxes, licenses, and fees, a government ultimately destroys its own hosts and creates bootleggers who slough off virus infections. They're too busy getting around a miasma of insane and silly laws and fees to get sick. Even parasites can feed off dead meat only so long as it exists. But parasites are a simple species. They do not think ahead. It isn't in their nature. The irony is that some environmentalists seem to believe their legal controls are rational, thinking ahead measures that will save the present resources for future generations. But if the control is too strong, you break the backbone of the present, and there will be no future. Not to worry about a future that won't be. See my soapbox? It's right here under my feet. As I said, I think Mother Earth hates ecology. In this view, I agree with Rush Limbaugh. I'm not religious quite like he is, though. I'm a skeptic who believes in the author of the laws of physics, with a capital A, capital L, capital P. Until that author proves me wrong. You see, I don't think he, she, it wrote the Bible. When he wrote physics, including the laws of evolution, potential, possibility, probability, etc., he figured he had covered the necessary basis for teaching cause and effect and morality, though I believe he provides 24/7 assistance in various ways. I don't believe he abandoned us, like some of the clockwork God theories seem to indicate. I'm going to have to think of a definite name for this famous author, capital A. I've called this phenomenon several names in my gem books, all of them complimentary. Ah, heck. I'll just try to stick with he with a capital H. That's easy and clear. I should mention here that in this book in 94, it seems like I've been discounting the Bible quite a bit. And from my current perspective, and even then, I don't really mean to do that. I do think there's a tremendous amount of truth in most holy books that different cultural religions believe in. Maybe all of them have all the truth if read correctly. I really don't know. I just know that I want to keep my mind open, and I feel like that whatever God is, he does communicate to each individual through their soul, live, and that he likely also does communicate through a variety of books. I think all books are inspired to one degree or another, depending on how soul connected the writer is. So, we might one day see that one of the Bibles or holy books of religions had more of the whole truth and all the truth, nothing but the truth type of thing. If that's true, I'll believe it. For now, I'm going to stay open and keep exploring because I'm having too much fun thinking on my own and relating to what I conceive of as a live God force directly through my own soul. Back to the book now. But on with my Pueblo 13 story based in truth, which supports my full view agendas. One Bureau of Waterworks project was shut down and an independent contractor service truck impounded. He didn't have SME stickers on his welder or air compressor. The contractor and his city cohorts offered to get the stickers immediately if the state officials would allow the project to continue working so the citizens wouldn't be delayed water service. The state said no. and kept the project down for 3 days. In another incident, a bear-sized man, in confrontation with these state officials physically, went after them. In the process of getting the man handcuffed, the officials jumped on his back as he lay face down, thereby breaking his back, several vertebrae, and ribs. To invade a city 13 vans strong and engage in such activity is not a law enforcement effort. It's a terrorist tactic. According to more hearsay, Colorado is in danger of losing some of its federal funding for highways. Oh, and this is grounds for terrorist action? This is beginning to remind me of the book that I also did a video introducing, The Slender Reed by John W. Cassell. It also reminds me, this passage that I read so far in this video in my Molasses Moon series, of The Price of Black Diamonds, a short true story with Joe Carpine, a coal miner operator, reflecting on the history of mining in general and focused on his area. It deals with a lot of these issues very well, and I recommend it highly. Oh, and this is grounds for terrorist action? Several hard-headed, strong-spined businessmen remaining in small towns are jokingly mentioning the revolution each time an event like the state invasion of the city of Pueblo goes down. These same men are concerned when government grows increasingly insistent upon gun control. An unarmed citizenry is prey to government tyranny. But what good are a few guns against an FBI, CIA, and IRS in a James Bond, futuristic, computer-based armory? The one thing here now, speaking from the present, I have hope in, is that in every facet of life, including the ones that might have terrorist tactics and might be doing a lot of wrong, there are good people in these places that mean well and that want to do good, want to be fair, want to be right in the higher sense, not in a perverted political sense or in a desire to control or enslave. These people are everywhere in every facet of life, and I place my faith on them and on the higher powers of good that be. Back to the book. Even a well-armed citizenry would be a laugh against a United States government that decided to break the backbone of its residents. But why would it want to do that? I doubt that the U.S. government does want to do this. I don't think the complex labyrinth of bureaucracy truly sees the end result of actions that choke harder and harder on American business and industry in favor of jungle maniacs addicted to bananas or in the name of public safety. Give me a break. I don't think they see it. But I think it's time they opened their eyes to the cause and effect of their own actions. Don't you? Maybe my books will toothpick some eyelids and activate some minds. That's their purpose. At least the main one. I do also hope to entertain. You know I like to laugh, especially at myself. Sometimes I'm not funny though, however hard I try to be. I believe in laughter from wherever it emerges, except when it's cruel. It balances cholesterol levels and releases poisons and qualms. It stops arguments. Yes, it could stop wars dead in their tracks. No matter what anyone's been eating, thinking, or believing, even bananas. Isn't that nice? At least I certainly hope they don't exist. I hope the bureaucracy doesn't see the end results, at least I certainly hope they don't see it. In parentheses, I hope the bureaucracy doesn't see the end results of its too heavy burden of taxation and legislation. What type of person navigates his own self-destruction as long as he can take those he hates with him? What type of man, a Wyoming State Police official, would tell Tom, when he's frustrated with the number of laws and fees he has to meet and pay to keep his service truck legal? What type of man would answer Tom's frustrated, "I'll go out of business trying to meet your requirements," with, "I don't care if you go out of business"? Are we back to insecurity and paranoia so strong it breeds intense hatred? A hatred so strong one's life no longer matters. Only controlling, then annihilating one's enemies matters, at any cost, to anyone. Are people who want the right to own guns insecure? Some are. Some are downright paranoid. But I think most are merely making a realistic response to what they see in their environment. They plan to be able to defend themselves and their property. Their property. Yes, their property. At least some of us can still own our homes and land. What I'm saying right now isn't too funny, is it? In spite of the nightmarish tone to the 13-van approach to Colorado state law enforcement in Pueblo, Tom and I believe in the sanity and stamina of most of the human species. Whether they hang their hats in a bureaucracy, a doctor or lawyer's office, a news van, a Walmart, a farm tractor, a banana tree, a computer terminal, or a Mack truck. We don't believe in a conspiracy such as the Bland Brigade, based in environmental or socialistic sentiment, working to ooze its way into the U.S. government. We don't believe that such a conspiracy, even if it does exist, could gain control of the U.S. citizenry or its government, at least not long term. And aside from the future, I don't remember when I wrote this one, but it's probably a little later than 94. And aside from the future, beyond the time of writing this novel, during the presidency of George W. Bush, I called this Molasses Moon a novel, which it isn't, but during the presidency of George W. Bush, in colon here, that man was the first president I've been able to instinctively respect, trust, admire without fear. That's still the case in 2012. And the people now, some of them, in control, I fear more than I ever have. But I believe in powers well beyond those that I fear. That was from now, in 2012. Now back to the time of George W. Bush's presidency. I thank him and his supporters as much as I'm concerned at what might follow his departure from office. I thank him and his supporters as much as I'm concerned at what might follow his departure from office. Oh my. I wish good luck to us as citizens of the USA and to the human race on Earth. Hopefully Tom and I are not wearing rose-colored eye accoutrements, but as long as we can still afford gas for our tumbleweed truck, and have the right to a box of bullets in our chest of drawers, and a gun that matches, I think we're not too naively trusting. I'm hoping Tom and I will hear a countering incident relating to the Pueblo 13. It would be healing to hear something to place the horror of it more clearly, and maybe to show some incidents of successful heroics used against wrongful aggression brought on from abusing the protection of culturally sanctioned authority. If so, you'll be the last to know. By the time this gets published, this news will be quite old, or even non-existent, if this chapter gets edited, along with the previous one. Thank you, Kindle and Amazon. That's from 2012. I should mention in closing that facts can become awfully distorted. Maybe there were only 5 vans instead of 13. Maybe the man subdued by the officials didn't have a broken spine, but bruised vertebrae, which is certainly bad enough. He may be back to his old shenanigans with his back as strong as ever and his bullhead still intact. From the present, I pray so. Yet, however these facts wash, my point is made. Don't bite the hand that feeds you too many times. And certainly don't bite it off and eat it whole. Now we come up to chapter 21. How many? One more times. And I'm going to pause there. This is serious, as I'm sure you can tell. These kinds of actions, though, have happened throughout history. So this time really isn't that different. And in some ways, what we're creating now to be history might not be as nightmarish as a lot that we've already recorded. But I wish us well, and I still have great hope for this year of 2012. And I'm hoping that it's a year that will get a much stronger infusion of some type of consciousness or energy from the higher powers that maybe know what they're doing. Good luck. And start your brain. It's time.